What is going on, guys? I am the FD Guru, bringing to you an NFL episode of my daily fantasy sports podcast. We have the last regular season week coming up tomorrow, Sunday, and there's a bunch of games to go around. We'll see the biggest afternoon slate of the year tomorrow, and it's going to feature, let's see, three, six, eight afternoon games. We never see that. And then there's 1 o'clock games as well, 1 o'clock Eastern. So a lot of games. Um, and I'm just going to dive into a couple of value plays I like at each position, make the video nice and quick, and it'll give you a nice step on your research, whether it's today or on Sunday morning when you're looking at the slate. So quarterback, I'm really digging this Atlanta at Tampa Bay game. It's one of the highest totals on the slate. It should feature a lot of scoring. Both teams not looking to make the playoffs. They're just going to hurl the ball and just hope to just put on a really good performance. I think Matt Ryan is going to get his for sure. Tampa Bay is one of the worst defenses in the league for the pass and the rush. And Ryan's really found a good stride here. He has 8 touchdowns in his last 3 games. And there's no reason for him to keep it going against the Buccaneers. And then if you want to look towards a cheaper quarterback, I'm really liking, where is he? Derek Carr, more of a GPP guy, but his price is great at 6,800, and his ownership should be down due to a couple of past bad games. But they're going to be down in this game against the Chiefs. They're going to need to throw the ball a lot. And Carr normally gets his pass attempts up there. He normally gets high 30s in pass attempts just because they're down so often and they don't really run the ball. The Chiefs are one of the worst passing defenses, so this matchup really fits Derek Carr really well, and he should see low ownership at a really cheap price. Running backs, I think it's a better idea to spend more in the mid-tier to low tier just because there's better value. One of the running backs you want to look at is Jamal Williams. With Aaron Jones on the IR, Jamal Williams is going to see himself with another huge bulk of plays. He played basically every single down last week, and he played very well. He had 24 fantasy points, 15 rushes. He also had 9 targets, so they're going to use him a lot. He's going to be a nice passing running back and rush attempt running back for this game against the Lions. Expect him to be heavily involved. 6,800 is a more than fair price to pay on him for running back. And then we want to look towards cheaper guys here. We have Philip Lindsay done for the year. He's not playing. Royce Freeman is named the starting running back. Now, the Chargers have a pretty good rushing defense, but at 4,700, Freeman makes for a really good play. If you're not trusting it in cash games, you definitely want to get some exposure to him in tournaments. He could easily score 1 or 2 touchdowns if they get the ball down deep in the red zone. He will be their go-to guy when running the ball. So expect Royce Freeman to be able to reach value at 4,700. And then one last running back I'm going to throw at you guys is another cheap guy. Let's see. I honestly kind of forget who it was, but I know it's a cheap guy. Someone else is out, leading to no, it's not who it is. Let's see. Oh, C.J. Anderson. That's right. Todd Gurley's out. Anderson finds himself in a great spot against the 49ers. He's just going to see a lot of carries. He went off last week at Arizona against with no Gurley, so expect him to do the same thing again. I don't expect him to put up the same amount of numbers, but he should see in the high teens in rush attempts and have a really good chance at scoring a touchdown. So another really good value play there at 6,200. For wide receivers, these are guys you want to really spend up on. Julio Jones, a great pairing to have with Matt Ryan against Tampa Bay. The really promising thing with Julio Jones is that he's found the end zone in the last 3 weeks, 4 touchdowns in his last 3 games. Earlier in the year, he was really struggling to find the end zone, but now he's really finding a nice groove. So expect Ryan to be targeting him in a more than great matchup against the Buccaneers. Another wide receiver you want to be looking towards is in the same game, Mike Evans on the other side of things. Atlanta also gives up a lot of offensive yards. Their defense is not good. And Mike Evans is a really consistent guy. He sees a lot of targets. Expect him to have a pretty good game, and a 7,300 price tag makes it more than manageable to fit him in your rosters. Looking more towards the middle tier of things, I'm sticking in this game. GPP wise, you could look towards Adam Humphries and Chris Godwin. Deshaun Jackson is doubtful, so expect Humphries and Godwin to get a lot of the targets behind Mike Evans. Humphries had 12 targets last week with 10 catches. He just unfortunately didn't get in the end zone, so he's a really good GPP play. He's a guy that probably won't be really targeted much in terms of rostering, so he makes for a pretty good play. And then Godwin has a pretty good upside as well, like I said, with no Deshaun Jackson. Another GPP guy you could look at is John Ross. He's going to be their first wide receiver. He didn't do much last week in Tyler Boyd's absence, but the Steelers aren't great against the pass, and he's going to get his targets, definitely red zone targets as well. He was able to muster out 7 points because he caught a late touchdown. I expect a better performance out of him tomorrow. Still, not a great player, but at 5,300 being the first wide receiver on that Bengals team, not a bad play to save some money there. And then one last wide receiver I'm going to mention to you guys is, who was it? Julian Edelman. He's been really consistent. The Patriots definitely want to win this game against the Jets. He should be another focal point of their offense, and with no Josh Gordon, Edelman finds himself as the number one receiver in this Patriots attack. So he's had 33 targets in his last 3 games, getting over 10 fantasy points in each of those games. 7,100 makes for a fantastic price for Julian Edelman. I love him. You should definitely get your exposure to him. Then for tight ends, really good idea to spend up. If you're picking Derek Carr, like I said, in a great matchup against the Chiefs' poor passing defense, Jared Cooks makes for a lot of sense here. He's had 2 really bad games his last 2 games, but he's been good all year. You can't let 2 slumped games to really shy you away from him. This should keep his ownership down. Not a bad play at 6,000. I also really like Travis Kelce in this game. The Chiefs are going to be slinging it against the Raiders. There's going to be a lot of points in this game. Kelce makes for a really good play at 7,700. And then you could also look towards George Kittle at 67. The Rams have had a pretty shaky passing defense all year long. They've had some holes. They've let up some pretty big plays, and Kittle has had a career year. Top 3 tight end in the league. He's had some crazy big plays. He can really open up the field due to his quickness as a tight end. So Kittle makes for a really good GPP play at 6,700. One last tight end you could look at, just because he should be getting his targets against a favorable matchup against the Saints. Ian Thomas. With Greg Olsen out, Thomas is their go-to tight end. The Saints are 28th against the pass, and Thomas caught himself a touchdown last week. He had 11 targets 3 games ago. He should do pretty well. 5,700 is a pretty cheap price. I don't think he's consistent enough for a cash game play, but he has some pretty good upside for tournaments. Then a defense I'm going to throw at you guys is definitely the Seattle Seahawks. This is the lowest scoring projected total, and the Seahawks are a huge favorite. I don't expect the Cardinals to really put up any points in this game. They're going to struggle to even score a touchdown, so at 4,700, Seahawks make for a pretty good play. That'll sum up this Week 17 NFL video. If you're looking to get into my playoff groups once this week ends, DM me. We'll start that going and get ready for some really good playoff football. And until next time, I am the FD Guru, and I'm signing off.